On every minute news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
CORETV News, expanding your view.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CORETV News.
You're still watching Core Digest on CORETV News. My name is Brownson Wana. On the show today, I've been speaking with Owoseni Ajayi. Is the Deputy Director General Fire Safety Campaign Organization, and as well as former Attorney General of Ekiti State, and also Olatunbosu Ahiosun has been with me in the studio, and of course we'll be looking at the forthcoming Ekiti election. June 21 has been penciled down for that, and of course as a build up to the elections, there's been a lot of controversy, especially as it regards violence in that part of the country. But before I come back to my guests, I need them. Let me welcome you back. Thanks for staying around.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Okay, all right. Quickly, I need us to look at, to listen to Kole Ajayi. He made a statement I'd like us to listen to. Let's take that comment by Kole Ajayi and we'll be back.
Facing some pockets of attacks, but we have not been involved in any form of violence. Our bosses have been attacked severally by APC thugs, and our guys have been wounded severally by APC thugs. But one thing I notice is that I can notice hostilities mainly between APC and PDP, and also between APC and Labour. When you try to look critically at what could be the problem, you can trace it to, I mean, historically, to the lack of trust and sort of happenings in the past. Take for instance, I know there's a lot of grouse between Fayose and Fayemi, because I think Fayose believed he worked for Fayemi during the rerun elections, and according to him, he believed that having worked for them, for him to emerge, for Fayemi to emerge, he will be compensated with the senatorial seat. And I think when it got to that stage, I think he felt betrayed by the APC. I don't know the agreement that went between them. So now that he's trying to come back, APC is looking at it as, I mean, the fact that they have to resist this guy. He too feels that, okay, they have really shown me once, I have to retaliate and, of course, get back at them and get the guy off there. And Bamidele too, you notice that there's been the crisis between Bamidele and Fayemi started when Bamidele wanted to be senator, and he claimed that he won the primaries, but the thing was given to Juju or some guys. They have tried PDP severally. Now they need a change. They are hungry for change, and this time around they define change. And that is why nobody is looking at those two contentious parties. And you can see the fightings are mostly between APC and PDP, gunshots everywhere. So Ekiti people have rejected them. Before, Ekiti people have been choosing between two devils. Now there are options. And this time around, it's even a defined change.
What are the two devils?
Yes, APC and PDP.
All right, of course, the comment there by Kole Ajayi. Barrister, quickly, before I come to you, how do you react to that? Now, I think just like you said, APC now have options other than APC, PDP, who he claims are the two devils of running that. What would be your reaction to that?
Let me tell you right away that the election in Ekiti State is tripartite. PDP, Labour Party, and the ruling APC. And these are
you ruling a call out of it?
These are the real gladiators on the field. Accord to due respect to my friend and colleague, my very good friend, his analysis are good to some extent, but his party is not on ground. Nobody is talking about Accord in Ekiti State. They have no structure, have no facilities for campaign, apart from posters and billboards in some places. They are not really in this race. Let us face the reality. The people know that this election is within PDP, APC, and Labour Party. And the issue of betrayal of trust and confidence, when you work for somebody, you are not doing it just for the fun of it, just to get him elected and you now suffer. The people know that if not for Governor Peter Fayose, Fayose would not have won that rerun election. And there was an agreement. As he said, there was indeed an agreement, particularly conceding the issue of the senatorial seat to him. And even when actors like the governor of Ondo State, Governor Mimiko, was in that meeting when they were saying that he should come and contest under APC, he said, that cannot be your concern. He can choose any of the political issues to contest. Agreement is agreement. You should not sponsor any candidate against him. That is the agreement. They went ahead and did that. Not only that, they said he has been paid off. That he has been paid off. He has no stake in their government. And we withdrew to our chefs. So, and we had, because of that, these are things that are known to Ekiti people. Because of that, we are enjoying the same party of the people of Ekiti State. I would advise that they enjoyed the same party that it was shortchanged by the present government.
At this point, I think it's very important we also assess the candidates running for these elections. We have the likes of Kole Ajayi, Ayo Fayose, and the Labour Party man, and all of them. But quickly, how would you assess the candidates for this?
Before I do a bit of assessment of the candidates, I would just like to say that the Ekiti election, the forthcoming governorship election in that state, is like, we can liken it to what happened between the two major coalitions, the two major alliances that contested the 1964 federal election vis-a-vis the Western region election of 1965. Because these two coalitions, the United Progressive Grand Alliance, you know, that we used to call UPGA, and the Nigerian National Alliance, NNA, they were amalgams of smaller parties. For instance, the UPGA, the United Progressive Grand Alliance, was an amalgam of smaller parties like the NCNC and the Action Group. Of course, we also had the Northern Element Progressive Union, NIPU. But for the Nigerian National Alliance, it was an amalgam of smaller parties like the MPC, the People's Congress, and the UPP, which was the breakaway, the Akitola-led UPP that broke away from the action group. Now, these two major alliances, they contested the federal elections in 1964. In 1965, the smaller parties that belong to these two organs contested the Western Region election. So they had support from the center. They had support from the center from outside the Western Region, because the two major alliances were interested in what will happen to the Western Region. The Western Region was so important to the stake and fortunes of these two major alliances. So in the Ekiti governorship election, forthcoming governorship election in Ekiti, there is a federal interest in the election. Now the federal government is interested because the PDP-led federal government need Southwest to cancel whatever problem it may have in the north. Because for now, the incumbent president, the sitting president, is comfortable, maybe 99% with the south-south and the south-southeast. He doesn't really have major problems there. But in the southwest, he needs to dislodge the machinery of the All Progressive Congress, the APC. And Ekiti is very, very instrumental. To some extent, he has support of Ondo State, because the incumbent governor of Ondo State, who is a Labour Party person, is also the deputy chairman of a faction of the Governors Forum, a faction that supports or that sympathize with the president.
Now, putting all of this side by side with all
and then now let me go on the side of the APC. The APC needs to reconsolidate Ekiti. Haven't lost Ondo. No, there is this southwest integration that the APC is talking about. Now, they are leaving a Ondo State out of it because the APC is not controlling Ondo State for now. So they cannot afford to lose Ekiti. So that is why there is so much interest. The national APC, the APC leadership at the national level, we don't want to lose Ekiti. That's why it's so desperate, so interested in what happens to Ekiti. And then the federal government too, the PDP-led federal government, is also interested in Ekiti, because it has a foothold in Ekiti. If it can reclaim the governorship seat of Ekiti, then it's going to do a lot of good to the fortunes of the president who is recontesting, who is going for second term in 2015. So you can see that there is a conflagration, there is a coalition of so many interests. A lot of factors, a lot of forces are interested in the election. So it has been so externalized that we only can wait. You can only wait for what will happen. Now, considering the individuals, considering the personalities that are contesting this election, now I think this is an opportunity to add this to what we were trying to look at the other time. Is it some of these candidates? Some people are saying that they are not, homegrown, candidates. They were not people that are feeling the pulse, that are actually products of the Ekiti political history. They are not grassroots, quote and unquote. Apart from maybe to a large extent the candidate of the PDP, Mr. Odili Fayoshe, who we all know that is a grassroots politician. He's a field politician. I know that as a student of Nigerian politics and government. I know that. I've also been observing, the happenings in the recent happenings vis-a-vis this governorship election. You only produce candidates, you only put forward candidates that you feel can get votes, that you feel are good materials that you can sell. If you don't have product within, then you look for product outside. There is nothing wrong in using any candidate, in as much as that candidate is a marketable candidate, is a marketable product, whether from within or from outside. Mr. Fayoshe, as an individual, I know his major plus, his major strength is that you cannot dictate to him. He's not a politician that you can push around. He's not a politician that you can push around.
All right, now
let me add this. But his major undoing maybe because of his pedigree and the fact that some people may not be comfortable with his agenda on the second return. Is he going to be vindictive? Is he going to have a personal vendetta against certain individuals?
Let me hold you there. That's yet to be seen. As far as the election is concerned, let's see if anyway, everything is still speculation until after June 21.
Yes.
But Barrister, you have been making claims that PDP have been very fair in their campaigns, and everything. PDP has been upright in all of their doings. I'm going to play this report, and then let's get reactions. At this report, we saw a lot of people complaining about some activities of the Nigerian People's Democratic Party, and when we come back, I'll have your reactions on that. Okay. Gimbal.
The cars that were parked in our office yesterday, the party headquarters yesterday, all got vandalized yesterday by agents of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, unprovoked.
The APC congressman also took a swipe at the federal government, accusing the State Security Service of creating fear in the Ekiti people with Ayo Fayose's rally.
Of state security personnel, SSS, that came into Ekiti with Ayo Fayose yesterday, Dr. Ayo Fayose yesterday. If you're popular, you don't need that contingent. And who ordered the release of state security personnel to give him that kind of cover?
However, in a swift reaction, the campaign office of Ayo Fayose dismissed the allegations as unfounded, saying the All Progressives Congress are crying wolf where none exist.
Vandalizing out of enemy's vehicle, what will it translate to? What will it achieve? So I disassociate myself. The PDP members disassociate ourselves. It is their way to blackmail people, and we are not going to join issues with them.
But then I hope they won't push us to self-help. If the institutions of state fails, then there's nobody who has monopoly of violence.
With accusations and blames traded at the early stage of the electioneering process, what should Ekiti people expect in time when the campaigns are in full throttle?
All right, now in that report, we saw the APC people accusing PDP of violence and attack on their campaign. How do you react to that?
Yes, thank you. I sympathize with B. Badaramola, Honorable B. Badaramola, who happens to be the Director General of the APC, speaking there. Because the mammoth crowd of that day you are showing is not to intimidate any politician. So that is why I said that I sympathize with him seriously.
Is that an APC crowd or a PDP crowd?
That is PDP crowd. That was the day Governor Fayose entered Ekiti after getting the certificate of returns and the flag from Ekere down to Ado-Ekiti Metropolis. It was, I've never seen that type of crowd in life. It was too tumultuous. So any opposition party seeing that, deserve pity. We have to pity them. We really have to sympathize with them. But the truth is that the crowd that day, as heavy as they were, they comported themselves. You will see in Ado-Ekiti that, and virtually in Ekiti State, it is only the posters and the billboard of the governor that you will see. Because their signage board don't allow the billboard and posters of any other political party. So, and all these billboards that littered everywhere in the state were not touched by the mammoth crowd on that day, that on the road throughout the day. And the issue of attacking was talking about never existed. You know, I've actually said it here before that they believe they can win election using blackmail tactics, confusing the people. But the people who are within, they know what is happening. There was no violence on that day. Everybody comported themselves. Part of their problem was attacking the issue of the security attached to the candidate. Everybody knows that Ekiti election is volatile. The security people in this country will not allow a gubernatorial candidate to be messed up. So, and that security is not only provided for Governor Fayose, it's also provided for the governor himself and other political parties. So that was why, if not for the security that the security people have been trying their best, there could have been a lot of death recorded.
Now, there was another allegation on attack on Fayemi. I will also like to show you this report, but as soon as that report is ready, we'll come to you. Now, let me come straight to you. Looking at a series of attacks from APC to PDP to the Labour Party and, of course, to all the people involved. Now, do we have to... what would you say the cause of attack? Now, some people have said probably INEC should have separate days, like a timetable for campaign, so that there won't be clash from different people. Would you agree with that?
Please let me answer that.
Like what Barrister said earlier on.
I will be in the best way to answer that question, but I will allow you to make his comment.
It's a volatile terrain. Very, very volatile. And then some of these are actually state managed. Some, not all. And then you also use it to intimidate political opponents. It is an instrument that is used in this part of the world. You use it to demoralize, you use it to decimate, you use it to intimidate political opponents. But then, you see, what can we do? What can we do? The only thing we can do is that there will be moderation. There will be moderation. As far as our understanding of political process and electoral campaign, prelude or build up to electoral campaign, are concerned, in this part of the world, there is no way you can rule out all these attacks we are talking about. You cannot rule it out. You cannot eliminate. You can only reduce. The most important thing is for you to provide security. The most important thing for you is to ensure that you are able to manage it. But to eliminate it completely, you cannot. In the next future, we can move towards that. But as far as this election is concerned, you cannot eliminate it completely. You can only manage it and moderate it to an extent that you will not have substantial injuries, substantial destruction to lives and properties. Okay. You can only manage it.
Let me start by agreeing with my colleague here on his analysis so far on Ekiti election. It shows that he was following events, though it's not an engineer of Ekiti State. He's following events there, and his analysis are very objective. Like the analysis they are given on the candidates. And I don't want to go further into them. But on this issue of security arrangements for the campaign, it is every week that all the political parties will submit their campaign timetable.
Every week?
Every week. Your campaign timetable for the week, where you are going to conduct your campaign. Just every week submit it for vetting. So when party A is in local government B, then the other party will not go there. It is so arranged that the three dominant political parties, Labour, PDP, and APC, are in different senatorial districts, so that they don't cross each other at all. So that is why we have been asking questions. What are the APC doing in PDP rallies when they are not even supposed to be there at all? They will now claim, they will now rush to the press that they were beaten up in the local government where PDP is holding rally. And the question they have been asking them, what is your business in the local government that is assigned for PDP or Labour Party? They will go to where Labour Party is holding their rally and start embarrassing them there, sending their talks to disrupt their campaign. And naturally, the security people in charge of security for those political parties will have to receive their talks. That is exactly what is happening. It is the APC, I've repeated it several times, and I've provided evidence, that are usually their aggressors. The political parties are in respective local governments. And let me cite an example. We were supposed to be in Oyo local government, approved for us. After the local government had approved for us, Governor Kayode is from Oyo local government. His stand is Ishon. On the specific date, we are supposed to be there. He now organized a meeting of community associations. A meeting that is supposed to hold in the government house. He now took it to his hometown. Within the local government, we had to visit. And there was security challenge. The commissioner of police has to appeal to us that in the interest of peace, you can tell all other local government, all other places in the local government, please leave that word for him. When we were asking them, You have approved this local government for us. His party is in another local government. A government meeting that is supposed to take place in the government house. Why is he holding it in his hometown? Up till now, no political party has been able to campaign in his hometown nation. I stand to be challenged. No political party, he has not allowed any political party to go to his hometown to campaign. Whether Labour Party, the day Labour Party wanted to go there, the whole place was barricaded. And the traditional ruler of the town said, in the interest of peace, don't come to my town. So up to date as I'm talking to you, no other political party have been allowed to go to the hometown of the governor to campaign. So this is unexpected of a democratic governor.
No,
elected on popular
democracy. Has it been formally reported to the appropriate quarters?
Exactly that. You know, I said the appropriate quarter is the INEC and the CP. I said the CP have to appeal to us that we should share his ward where his town is for that day. So we went around all that wards. There are 12 wards in that local government. We went around 11 wards and left that place for him. Just because we wanted peace. And our candidate has told all of us that anybody that is involved in this violence is on his own. Is on his own. If you are caught, Papa have not sent you. I will not come to the police station to bail you out. And everybody have complied with it. We don't use talks at all. Because we don't want them to use talks as an excuse to implicate us. We rely fully on the security agencies. That is why so far, and I'm saying it with all emphasis, we have not been involved in any violence. It is the APC that come to provoke other political parties where they are campaigning. They will say this local government, it is our town, you can't come there and campaign. And Labour Party have been the most affected. Probably because of the way we conduct our own campaign, it has not been easy. I think where they tried it, where they try to obstruct our campaign, the rest is history. But Labour Party, probably because of their strength or things like that, they have been the greatest victim of the APC attack. And I sympathize with them.
Now, the most important thing
and
for
it's
us,
unexpected.
The most important as far as this election is concerned is the protection of life and properties, because you can't rule people when there's no life anyway. So it's very important that things are being done in a very peaceful way. And the one thing we need to look at is the fact that can Ekiti State run a peaceful election? Now, that's coming to you.
Well, that kind of question, of course, basically we put it to the election umpire, the INEC, and then the security personnel. As far as we are concerned, politicians, the voters, the candidates, they cannot provide security. It is the electoral umpire or election umpire and the security agencies that are saddled the responsibility of ensuring that we have each free election. It is possible to have each free election in Ekiti State, but there are so many question marks. There are so many question marks. Now, the personalities in this election are political heavyweights. Now, there is a sitting governor who want to break the jinx of his predecessors who never got second term. He wants to break that jinx. Secondly, we have Mr. Yofayoshe, a grassroots politician, a no-nonsense politician, who understands the terrain very well. Haven't been there before. He has been understanding it again for about 8 years since he was, ousted, quote and unquote. Who we have been told, and most of us believe, helped the incumbent to get to office. And he has actually told us anyway that he was the one that orchestrated, or he was one of those principal factor that made Fayemi the governor. And he's in the best position to get him out. Then we also have, relatively, relatively unknown, quote and unquote, in Ekiti politics, because he was made outside of Ekiti. He started his law thing. There was a time he was, in Abuja. People were calling him, in this pro-democracy fold, civil society movement. They were calling him the Ganifawa Emi of the downtrodden in Abuja. From there, he came to Lagos. He was actually made by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He made him what he is today. He was a commissioner for information and strategy. He was also a commissioner for sport. Before he now said, well, I haven't made, my money, and then let me go to Ekiti. And of course, we know how the APC does its thing. Once we have people who are outside their state of origin, and they have been able to brush them up, they have been able to empower them, then they will dispatch them to their home state to contest elections. The case of the incumbent governor of Osun State, Rahul Baregbe, is there because he was made in Lagos. No, he is a politician of reputation, the grassroots politician. Okoyemi Bamidele had issues. In fact, that may be a spoiler for Ayemi. Had he been there in the same group, who knows? No matter how few the votes that may go to him, no matter how few those votes are, that may be the spoiler for Ayemi's return or re-election. So you consider the heavyweight, you consider the personalities that are involved in this election. There's so much tension, there's a lot of people, a lot of things are heating up the polity. There is nothing we can do to reduce the heat in the polity because these personalities are very powerful, very influential, political juggernauts. So the only thing we can do is the people that may be used, like Barrister said earlier on that Mr. Ayodele Fayosi said, any of his supporters that get himself involved in thuggery or political violence is on his own.
Now let me hold you there quickly. Before Ayo Fayosi was ousted in 2006, he was able to rule for at least 3 years.
Yes.
And a lot of people have criticized his reign. That in the space of 3 years, he didn't really, achieve a lot, impact the life of people in Ekiti State. How would you explain that?
I will answer that question, but it is important I give an addendum to the answer of my friend here, which I agree with in toto. But the Ekiti election could be peaceful if the umpires there remain umpires, if they are not corrupted, if they are not manipulated. I'm talking of INEC and the security agencies.
I'm talking about security. How well has security been in the campaign period?
Yes. Let me land with the position I want to make. If the INEC are very transparent, no manipulation of voters register, the electoral materials gets to point as at necessary, the electoral material like the forms are not filled somewhere else, and the security agencies need all thugs that have been trained to cause crisis. If they are nipped on the board, there will be free and fair election. The person Ekiti wants will emerge at the end of the day. It is only when those umpires, when they take position, when those umpires take position, people will resist them, and there will be problem. So if they don't take position, if they do their job, then the election is going to come out the way that of Ondo State, where the whole exercise was transparent, it was peaceful. Even in the court, to the Supreme Court, I judge it to be a good election. Then coming to your question, let me, you just want me to make analysis, because Nigerians know, Ekiti people too know that Fayosi happened to be the best performing governor in Ekiti State. That is why his nickname, Architect of Modern Ekiti State. And even his opponents, they concede that to him. That was why Fayemi, when he wanted to oust Oni during the rerun, he has to come with all the leadership, including Baba Alhaji Bola Tinubu, all their structures to appeal to that man, to assist them. And the presidency to under Musa Yar'Adua were also putting pressure on him to work for Segun Oni until Segun Oni messed up the arrangement the President Yar'Adua was making them, which I was conversant with. and Fayose had no option. If he did not perform, what will be the criteria for anybody to be winning him? What will be the criteria? Is he a special person? Is he specially created? Does he have 2 eyes? Does he have 2 heads? The truth is that what is called Ekiti State today were the handwork of Fayose. The Ekiti metropolis, our capital, was a glorified village by the time he came in. Only narrow roads leads to the town from all the entrance. He dualized all the roads leading to the state capital. All the structures that are presently there. The most beautiful governor's office in the southwest is that of governor of Ekiti. He built it. The Adetiloye Hall, the Fontaine Motel, the Professor Sam Aluko, Accountant General's office, the governor's residence, the presidential lodge, Fayose market. Everything you can take off in Ekiti State were the handwork of Fayose. And that is why the Mammoth crack are rooting for him. Nothing has been put to change that. Where he stopped the dualization, which will surprise you, 8 years ago, where he stopped the dualization of Ekiti Metropolis is where it is. What Governor Fayemi is doing is repairing the roads, putting asphalt on them, not new constructions. And that is why Ekiti people says we have been able to test so many of them. This one, whom we have tested, we don't want to gamble again.
But quickly,
we don't want to gamble again. This one we have tested, and we have known that he can deliver. We want to give him another chance.
Because of our time, quickly, in 1 minute, how can we have a very peaceful election? Because that's very key.
I've already answered that question. I said, if the umpires remain neutral, the security agencies on the day of election, the INEC are not manipulated by anybody. We have been saying so. We have been telling INEC openly and the police that we don't want anybody to assist us. We are not interested in anybody to assist us. What we want you to do is to prepare.
How do you mean external assistance? Yeah.
What I mean is that politicians do a lot of things during election, as we can see the APC doing in Ekiti State, trying to manipulate the voters register. You can see what happened in Anambra election. Voters registered that were meant for Ward A in a particular local government are taken to another local government. People that are supposed to vote there will get that they will not see their names, so they are disenfranchised. So these are manipulations coming from INEC themselves. The security agencies taking position with the agents of another political party, chasing away other political parties and merely encouraging the INEC officials that are already rigmarole there to just write figures. These are things that politicians do. And these are the things we say we are not going to accept. We are not going to do.
All right.
Because we know we control the people.
Okay.
Please let me chip in.
Quickly. What's your expectation?
And the role of Ekiti Bamidele, as he has said, Ekiti Bamidele, we encourage him to be in this election and remain in this election. Because it is lack of maturity and arrogance of the governor that have sent out Ekiti Bamidele and is drawing support from them.
My expectation on
so it's good for the
security,
PDP.
on free and fair election.
Quickly, in 30 seconds.
My expectations?
Yes.
My expectation, of course, well, the role of observers, both domestic and international, will also go a long way.
Okay.
In ensuring, an H3 election at the end of the day. But I want to say this. This is a poster, and this is also for my learned gentleman.
Anyway, I have to hold you there because of our time. We have to go for the for news. Thank you very much, Barrister Owoseni Ajayi, for coming. He's the Deputy Director of Fayose Campaign Organization, as well as former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure.
And of course, a very big thank you to Olatubosun Ahiosun, a political analyst. Thank you very much. I hope to see more of you. And of course, I want to wish all the people contesting for the Ekiti elections all the very best. Don't go away. When we come back from the headline, from the news on the hour, we'll be having some security experts talking to us about the vigilante that would help our security system in the country. Stay with us. We'll be back after the news.
CORETV News, expanding your view.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.